All right, we're going to pull up the radical Shane Hazel. And I know Larry Sharpe is in the car, so I will try to get him back. I don't know if he is in the New York tunnel or something like that, but we've got the radical Shane Hazel. You can go to radicalpod.com to subscribe to his podcast. Thank you very much for joining us tonight, Shane.
What's happening, brother? It's good to be with you, man.
You as well. So, I've noticed recently you've really gone through, I don't want to say a branding change, but you've gone through a little bit of a change in your focus. I see a lot of focus on Bitcoin and, cryptocurrency, but specifically Bitcoin in your messaging. You've gone real hard there. What's going on? What's causing the shift here?
Man, I've been orange pilled here, man, and that's the thing is it's so cool to be. First of all, thanks for having me, guys. The Mises Caucus. Hats off to you, Mike, for putting this all together. I mean, look at where we're at. We're like on the doorstep of Reno, and everything is about to absolutely start to take shape, and I'm excited. First of all, go out there and donate
Thank
lpmc.us/Reno
you, thank you,
Reset.
JR, for
Yeah,
that
man.
$300 donation.
But Bitcoin, man, Bitcoin is, I think, one of the issues that once, especially the Austrians get a hold of it, they're just going to be like, well, here's our vehicle. Let's go. It's the hardest money on earth, man. And, it qualifies, obviously, for all the aspects of being saleable over time, space, proof of work, and obviously scales. So for us as, libertarians, especially the guys that hold up Ron Paul in the revolution, this Austrian revolution that's going on in the Bitcoin space is I think it's no less than what we've been waiting for as libertarians to really kind of put all the bullshit aside and get super laser focused in terms of going forward, because this is it, man. Like, this is the paradigm change. We're in it. We got probably less than 5 years left. And I've got to tell you, the more you guys know about Bitcoin, the more you're going to get excited. It is the hope. It's that, in this world of chaos and darkness and everything else that's going on. This is what's going to take the Mises Caucus and the libertarians and kind of meld them together with some of the smartest people on earth and just push this thing into overdrive.
Yeah, I think the Bitcoin and community is one of the most ripe ones in existence for the Libertarian Party, and I don't even want to say the Libertarian message. A lot of them already have that, and that's why they're Bitcoin people to begin with. There's a lot of people who are Bitcoin rich who they found out the problems of fiat currency and they found out the issues of inflation and the Federal Reserve as a result of that. Ron Paul. I mean, that's certainly how it happened for me, and I remember hearing about Bitcoin probably around 2013 for the first time. And, I got very interested, wasn't an early adopter, but there was a whole bunch of Austrians and Ron Paul fans and people like that who got in early and are now whales in the Bitcoin scene. And, those are the kind of people who should be in the Libertarian Party, and a lot of them aren't. Why do you think they aren't in the Libertarian Party?
I think they're more focused, honestly, and that's the thing is I think these guys. I was down at Bitcoin 2022 a few weeks ago, and the focus from this crowd is like they don't really need, like, they talk politics all the time, but they don't talk about monikers, they don't talk about labels, they don't talk about any of that kind of stuff. It is a single track mind going forward. And you're right, libertarians and Bitcoiners, man, you guys absolutely made for each other, and to kind of be that bridge to help combine these giant Venn diagrams that we've got to obviously empower the Austrian side of pushing this thing through. It's, I don't know, man, it's just a humbling spot to be in. And I'll tell you, the shift, until you can talk about something, I think from a point where you can teach it, it's just one of those things where you gotta sit back, and you got to be humble enough to be the student until you get it right. So this is why I've had this really this kind of this radical shift in the space, and the warm reception, just melding these two worlds together is nothing less than, like, I don't know, kind of, it's very hippy dippy, it's kind of spiritual, it's obviously economics, it's everything, that when we all get together and you found your tribe, like, that's who this is, man. So if I can turn people onto it, and help them get started, and feel a little bit more secure with something that they can't touch, trust me, I was one of those guys. Happy to do it.
Got to give some shout outs here to Scott, Charlie, Libertarianism at Night. I'm not gonna lie, man. This bell thing is something that we added last minute, and this is like a little dopamine hit. I'm really having a kick out of this. This is awesome. But
I'm sitting here trying to keep my train of thought. Thinking about that guy that was talking shit to Mike Tyson the other night on the plane. I was like, man, I bet that guy wish he had a bell.
well, you know what? Mike Tyson's probably this close to being on his way to Bitcoin himself because he just got caught with a copy of Basic Economics by Thomas Sowell. So
Yeah, it's crazy what's happening.
it really is, man. And so that brings me to my next question. You're running for governor down there in Georgia, and you did really great in your last race, and but that was before the COVID regime. When you ran. Now this is post-COVID. Well, I don't want to say post, but largely post-COVID regime. I'm gonna have to restart the question now because we got Larry Sharpe with us, and I absolutely want his input in there. Larry, thank you for joining us. Sacrificing your attention to the road. I love it.
No, I'm not driving, but I'm in. There is loose cell service.
I can tell you're in northern New York because your connection is terrible. You're probably in the country. Yeah, you froze. Well, we'll come back. I'll restart the question. Basically, what I was asking is, Shane, we are now in a post-COVID world, messaging wise.
Right.
How has COVID affected how you're approaching the race? Is there more of an appetite for a third party this time around for the Libertarian candidate? And are you seeing that windfall, or how is it looking for you?
Yeah, there's a lot more buzz this time around, and that's having had some name recognition from last year, and really kind of announcing on the heels that I was going to seek the nomination for governor down here. On the heels when everybody was so upset from the Republican Party, it was one of those things that it made some news. So yeah, it's going well. There's I got to get better. I got to get back out on the road, but it's one of those things where this time around people are done. The three things that I'm really focused on right now is freedom, jobs, and energy, all pushed through a Bitcoin economy and into the Fed, getting the separation of money and state, which I think if anybody has is realistic about it, like they're seeing the economic problems we have with inflation, the fact that we're probably well into the 20% if you go by 1980 standards right now, and they're done. They're tired of the instability. They're tired of the charade that is the entire government. You've got more people saying yes, both Democrats and Republicans are crooked as hell, and I'm not going to vote for either one of them. So I'll tell you, if you're thinking about it out there in looking at a run, it is a golden opportunity to get out there and spread the message for liberty and freedom.
There's just no way I'm going to be able to give the shout outs without being an absolute douche host to the people talking. So thank you to all the people who are giving. Justin, Travis, we've already crossed $1,000.
See, and there you go. You had Ken Pullen come in. That guy used to be a representative for the Republicans down here in Georgia, and now he's joined the LP, man. And I mean, that's the kind of stuff we're doing. It's amazing.
Yeah, man, and we're already over $1,000. We're at 19. The goal for the weekend was 21,000. So I'm hoping we can blow through that. We absolutely blew through our initial goal of $7,000. And again, this is all delegate support. So if you want that Reno reset and you want it to be as big and as loud of a statement as possible, ring those bells, and we really appreciate it. But yeah, so are you seeing a difference in like your reach? Like, would you say you have more name recognition? Because I know you did that interview with Rand Paul, and that was, let's say, very interesting. And he kind of towed the line a little bit, which is a little disappointing. But
the reach is kind of nuts, because you got like people like Marjorie Taylor Greene, who is probably at least one of the biggest names in the Republican Party, right? And she's talking about me in a number of different cases in public, whether it's on Tim Pool's show or other pretty big organizations saying, hey, the Republicans need to listen to Shane Hazel, and that's something that I don't think I've ever heard. And I'll tell you, if you're looking at things like this, if you can get Republicans now, especially somebody who's a congresswoman or congressman, to come out and say, I'm breaking ranks with the Republicans, you've got national news overnight, and it's, I mean, we have such an opportunity ahead of us, guys. Like, donate, and get people out there, because what we're going to do in terms of messaging with the LPMC is going to break everything. And I mean, we've got, I don't know, Mike, you know better than everybody else. You've got all these different platforms that are now becoming extremely not only libertarian friendly, but especially Mises Caucus friendly. And that message is, I don't know, man, it is burning through the country right now, it feels like.
It's honestly the thing that excites me the most. Thank you, Jake. Thank you, Grace. I'll give you the shout out. If you're on Facebook, join Libertarianism at Night. It's a great, relaxed Facebook group, not run by absolute trolls and the worst scum imaginable on the internet, and has great conversation. But yeah, you're right. Like that's the thing that excites me the most about what's going on is I truly think that we're in the middle of a truly unprecedented time when it comes to our ability to get the message to people, because for the first time in history, the dissemination of ideas and the flow of information is not going through the corporate media. The ratings are down. I mean, CNN Plus, their streaming app, they just made it 3 weeks before they canceled that service. The only people who are watching dinosaur media are dinosaurs themselves, and there's just not going to be any changing them. Where people are disseminating their information now is the podcast. It is Tim Pool. It is Joe Rogan. It is Patrick Bet David. It's this whole patchwork of podcasts that, when you put them all together, have millions and millions of people listening to them. And we are this close to most of them. I mean, I've been on Tim Pool. I believe you've been on Tim Pool, haven't you?
Yeah, absolutely.
Tim Pool's editor-in-chief is, oh yeah, here's a little announcement for everyone. Tim Pool's editor-in-chief is coming to Reno to cover the convention. I text with the producer over there and give updates on what's going on with the party, and we got all this attention. Joe Rogan is, I'll talk with Dave about this a little later, but people don't realize how good of friends Joe Rogan and Dave Smith are, and how close we are to the largest platform in the entire world, and how exciting that is. I mean, look at what happened when Dr. Robert Malone and all of them went on Rogan. It went absolutely viral and just completely smashed the narrative of the vaccines. And what happened, not long after, you're starting to see the vaccine mandates recede and all of that sort of thing. So what is the state of the COVID regime in Georgia? Is there any remnants left? Is there any, mask mandates, anything like that?
Yeah, there's still people running around in masks, but for the most part, this whole thing that happened in 2020, in March, we went in to lockdown down here, and people haven't forgotten, man. I mean, absolutely had their lives destroyed, whether it was their business, whether it was the job they were in, or having family members die in hospitals or whatever, where they couldn't access or and be close to them as they passed away. Like, people are still reeling from this, and they're super pissed off. So to take that and push it into the the right direction, and give it what it needs in terms of the positivity, the empathy, which a lot of times we as libertarians don't do well. I think we've kind of found that and crossed that Rubicon, where we see it, we know it, we can sit there and really articulate this because we all lived it. I mean, let's face it, most people in the Libertarian Party are the guys and girls that go out and bust their ass, whether it's in their own job, whether it's, going to work every day and earning what we think as an honest living and everything. And for those people to get shellacked, over and over and over, to have, the requirements change over and over and over, and really to have a government just usurp, everything that we were ever told it was in the first place. I think people are just, they're done. And to see it flush out, whether it's in the polls or media or wherever, I mean, I don't think there's, any reason right now that your messaging shouldn't be all about getting out and obviously, taking these guys to task for what happened in 2020. It's just, there's no comparison right now.
Absolutely. All right. We got Larry back. Let's see. Maybe he got a little closer to the city. Let's see if we can hear him. Larry, maybe try audio only if we start having trouble.
All righty. I'll go audio. I don't mind. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you loud and clear.
Excellent. Yes. No, I am getting close to the city. You're right. Apologize, guys. Up here in this area, it can be tough. So yes.
So I guess I'm going to kind of circle back on some of the questions I already asked Shane and kind of get your take on it. One thing that's really interesting, because you're in New York, and that's obviously dominated by New York City. That was one of the hardest hit places by the COVID regime. That's where you had the nursing home. Well, one of the states that had the nursing home scandals. I had that happened here in PA too.
Yep.
And obviously you've already built some name recognition from your previous run.
Yep.
What are you seeing between then and now in terms of receptiveness to you as a candidate, and what we have to offer on messaging with the COVID regime, and are people starting to clamor for it a little bit more? I gotta tell you,
the hardest thing in my state is that we're about 2.5 or almost 3 to 1 Democrat to Republican. So the only way for me to make real impact is to get Democrats to vote for me. And the advantage is they do. About 25% of the people who voted for me last time were Democrats, and more do. So I've got to do that while still, at the same time, being able to, keep the right happy also, and to be libertarian. And it can be challenging. Yesterday, I was literally at the equivalent of a Trump rally in the morning. It was a rally in Albany. And then right after that, I went to a CBD shop. So I got both sides, right? Then this morning, I'm off at a gun show. And then I'm at some ritzy winery. So I got to bounce back and forth a lot and try to be able to keep both sides understand that, look, you can be who you want to be. Just don't force your view on others, right? If you want to be someone who likes guns, awesome. Just don't force people in Brooklyn who might be scared. Let them be alone, and let the people in Brooklyn leave you alone. I think that's one of the hardest things. But from your point, the issue that I deal with here is that with the COVID lockdowns, there were a lot of people who were totally okay with it, and still are. They were okay with it. In fact, the last polling, yes, the last polling we did, about 55 to 60% of New Yorkers were absolutely okay with the lockdowns and the way our governor handled COVID. And one of the things that was an advantage is for them is that Cuomo's gone. So Cuomo's horribleness actually made it a little bit better, meaning for them, the Democrats. Because when Cuomo's mistake,
oh no, I think Larry's coming up on the tunnel now.
Come back, Larry.
I'm here. I just stopped talking.
Libertarian. Oh, there we go. No,
I just stopped talking. Yeah.
Gotcha. Oh, sorry about that. So what is your well, I guess let me ask both of you this. And what is the because I know, Larry, you're going through hell right now with the signature gathering. They changed some rules there or something like that to truncate the amount of time that you have to collect signatures, right?
They cut the time down and tripled the amount. I used to have to get 15,000. Now I have to get 45,000 in 6 weeks. So I have to average, I have to get about 70,000 total to make sure that, I don't get challenged. So I have to average 2,000 signatures every single day. This is why I am physically out doing this myself. I don't work anymore. I just do this. So literally, I was at a gun show in the early morning when everyone was online to go into the gun show, and I had 4 people with signatures, and I worked the entire up and down line, back and forth, getting people a sign. Right? Then I was at a Trump rally, getting them to up and down, and then I'm at a weed shop, getting them to do it. Right? Then I'm at a winery, getting them to do it. So everywhere I go, I'm trying to get more people to get on board with what we're trying to achieve. It's challenging. It's very hard.
How is your outlook on achieving it?
To be forward, nobody thinks I can do it. LP Nationals think I can do it. The other parties I was trying to. In New York State, we have multiple parties. We have what's called fusion voting. So you can actually be on more than one line. So I try to get on multiple lines. I try to get on the Independence Party, the Unite Party, the Forward Party, and I try to get a bunch of them to back me. And every one of them at the end said, Larry, you'll never get in the ballot, and they backed out. The exception of the Forward Party, believe it or not. Andrew Yang's party was the only party that went, Larry, we're still going to back you. We're still going to endorse you. We're just not ready to write checks to get you on a line. So I still have the endorsement, but every one of them backed off, thinking that I couldn't do it. Right now, it was hard because last week was a snowstorm, but now we are rocking and rolling. We are on our way forward, and we can get this thing done. I think we're going to make it. I feel comfortable.
So I don't know if this is something you thought of, but one thing that me and Maj Toure did, and this was his idea when he was running for city council in Philly, that we found to be very, very effective, was we literally just went down into the subway and jumped trains back and forth. And Maj would do an impromptu, between stops, an impromptu, excuse me, everybody, I'm sorry, for for taking up your time, but I'm Maj Toure, and we got a lot of signatures from the streets that way, and it was a lot of fun. Now,
I like that idea.
Yeah, it's something to think about, and you give a little campaign speech, you go down there with 2-3 people so that when you go up and you start talking, they start going around with clipboards and you want to sign, this isn't an endorsement, yada, yada. And, get the signatures. Now, the only downside of that is it's not guaranteed that the person is a voter, but I can tell you that we were very, very successful doing that. And it was a lot of fun, and you could get, anywhere from 5 to 12 signatures per stop.
The issue that we have in the subways now is there aren't many people on the subways anymore because of all our violence. And a lot of people on the subway, you're right, they don't live in New York, they live in Jersey or Connecticut. So, and many of them actually aren't even registered to vote in New York City. They're actually registered to vote in other states. Remember, 1/3 of New York City is people not born in the country. Another 1/3 of people not born in New York City. So a lot of people are not going to be registered voters in New York.
Gotcha. Well, it worked for us. Just trying to help.
I love it. No, I need every bit we can get, man. We're good. We're outside. You want some of that government overreach? How about sign a petition? Not a bad idea.
Yeah. No, that's the way to go about it. I only caught about half of that because you're going out again, but I like it. So Shane, how's the signature situation looking in Georgia?
Well, this might be the one thing that Georgia does a little bit better than New York in terms of ballot access. Ballot access down here is statewide. Races are open to libertarians. So governor, lieutenant governor, secretary of state, ag commission, public service, and U.S. Senate races. I may have forgotten one or two, but we've got a full slate for all the statewide campaigns down here. So we are in the November election already. And that's huge. I mean, that's,
nice.
to be, through, our convention, which, you still have to explain to people, but yeah, it's going well. This being, not only empathetic, but having some energy and some hope to give to people now is just, it's one of those things where they want more classes. They want more engagement. They want to know what you know, and they want to know the people that you found this out through, this grapevine. So it's going well. And to Larry, man, I'll tell you right now, if anybody's out there that knows Larry Sharpe, the man and I have had just a few run-ins together, but I can tell you, I will never forget either one of those. The man is not only, he's got that Marine mentality all day long, doesn't know how to lose. And no matter what he's doing, he's going to be on point in terms of messaging. I'll tell you, if you got, extra money after donating, go donate to Larry as well. I mean, getting around New York, it's expensive as hell, and he's fighting a good fight up there. I think the one thing, before we probably wrap up this time slot, is I think people need to really jump on this part is the state, the Fed, whatever it is, wherever you're running. This is how illegitimate they are, is you've got people who want to be on the ballot who are stripped through force and coercion of their money, their time, their life, liberty, and property, and they can't even get on the ballot, which I think is absolutely maybe one of the biggest hallmarks of a banana republic. So, don't count Larry out, man. He's that guy that's going to come through in the end.
Well, I appreciate that, Shane, tremendously. I wish my messaging was always on point. I try to make it on point, but I sometimes gamble and lose. It does happen. But I am more about gambling and losing than not gambling. You and I both know sometimes you got to roll the dice and get out there and try to make things happen. But I'm not going to let you shirk your responsibility, Shane. You have to give Shane money, too. I bug Shane every time, raise money, so give money to Shane, too. It's important that he does this. He was the reason. He was the spoiler last time he ran. This is the guy who's making real impact. Well, I think I talk about him when I go on TV, because this is the guy making impact. So you can't shirk your responsibility, Shane. You got to raise money, too. I bug you all the time. Give Shane money also. Particularly if you're in Georgia and you don't give Shane money, you're crazy. It's like you have a mental problem. You need to be giving this guy some cash. That's just how it works.
All right, so
Hey,
we're
Larry, where can people donate to your campaign?
that's my job.
LarrySharpe.com, always, my friend. Larry Sharpe. I have the coolest name because no one else has it, so it's awesome.
What's the E stand for?
The E stands for electable. Of course it does.
Bam.
It also stands for educating people about giving Shane Hazel money at ShaneHazel.com. So yes.
Now accepting Bitcoin on Cash App.
There we go.
It's on ShaneHazel.com. You guys can find it.
There we go.
Awesome.
Love you, Larry.
Well, you
Mike,
guys each
course.
want to
You're-
you guys each want
you're
to
a
give kind of
genius.
a thank you, man. Each of you guys want to give kind of a closing statement? I'll shoot out a link in the comments here to both of your websites, and then Larry, let's talk off camera and maybe we can work something out to support the petition campaign.
Yeah, look, this is the reality. You guys talk about messaging often, and it's important. And you will always hear me say the same thing. I want all of the messaging because lots of people come to our movement from different places, different ways. Message how you feel appropriate to get the people who you know into us as fast as you possibly can. Because here's the reality. When they come to us, one of two things happens. They stay for a bit and go, not for me, and leave, or they become harder core libertarians. I'm hoping a whole lot more of the second thing happen, but we got to get them in. Use what you think is appropriate. I'm the recruiter. Others have to train.
Awesome. And then Shane, you got any closing statements?
Yeah, much like Larry, I think messaging is obviously the key here, and because of some very wise advice from Larry, know who your crowd is, and I
Yes.
say that because when you became a quote unquote libertarian, you took a step into a new group, a new world, a new tribe, and things like that. Right? It took you a long time to go from whatever you were in the past to maybe an ANCAP, an Agorist, whatever you are now in terms
Yep.
of to the threshold of anarchy. It took you a long time to get there. Be patient with people, give them empathy, tell them stories, lead with your heart, and I guarantee you, they'll come back and they'll start asking for information at that point. That's the only thing I tell you is be the example when you go out there. Be positive and be those people that they're looking for, that have solutions and don't just gripe about the problem. So, hey, Mike, Heise, Larry, everybody who's coming on, everybody out there in the audience, you guys are absolutely amazing. Watching what the LPMC has done, I said, hats off to Michael Heise before, but I don't think you'll ever get enough credit for what you've done in this space in terms of the work that I hate doing. I hate doing that kind of work. Like I love messaging and I love, podcasting, but to do this work on the back end is absolutely vital. And we need Mike and everybody else out there pushing. So thank you to everybody in the Mises Caucus. Thank you, everybody who's got an open mind in the Libertarian Party. And we'll see you guys in Reno. Love you to death.
Thank you, guys. Really appreciate your time. Larry, let's talk soon and discuss that. And the credit belongs to Ron Paul, not me. So, all right. Really appreciate you guys. Thank you very much.